Welcome to Sunrise Flow Express. We don't have as much time as usual, so we might as well get started. If you would like to have anything this morning besides material that makes you comfortable in Shavasana, a block would be a good idea. And you could choose to begin on the block. Sit yourself down, maybe bending the legs. If that's not possible, of course, you can choose a different form. I will just remove one layer, being brave, as we shared already. It's quite a cool morning. So as we come to a sit down, placing hands upon your legs, and maybe just allowing a little bit of movement. I won't make you sit still at all to begin with, so we can get right into it. And as we move a little bit around our sit bones, into the hips, into the shoulders, just maybe rolling the shoulders or squeezing shoulder blades and moving forward as you draw them apart. Allowing yourselves, when you're settling in, to then place the hands upon your knees. Taking a deep inhalation as you reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling. And when you're exhaling, just bringing your right shoulder forward, and with that, turning a little bit into the upper back as you look to the left. While you're inhaling, center yourself. And then as you exhale, draw the left shoulder forward and do the same. Just a gentle twist to begin with. As you inhale, come back. And we're exhaling, right shoulder forward once more as we're turning. Inhaling, a straight seat, and the left shoulder comes forward on the exhale. As you inhale and you come back to the center, you might explore a deeper version as you lean the right shoulder forward and down and starting to look over the left. On the inhale though, sit back upright, and then the left shoulder draws forward as you look over the right. And we might repeat that once more in this type of intensity as we're moving forward and down. On the inhale, sitting upright. Please feel free as these movements progress to scale it back and to work within your range of movement. Once you've done so, let's slide the fingertips behind us. And as we plant the fingertips down, just squeezing the shoulder blades together, wiggling them together, deliberately lifting from the sternum. And if it feels good, pushing the chin forward and guiding it up towards the ceiling, maybe even backwards as we come into Chakrasana, heart opening pose. Take a deep breath. And when you're exhaling, begin to round from your lower back, curl the back in to make it easy for your neck to lift the head. And then bringing your hands forward out in front of you. And if you're sitting elevated, this will be a careful walk forward. In any case, it will be just lengthening through the spine, and then maybe on the following out breaths, beginning to bend the elbows gently towards the floor as you lower your head. So our begin here is to move the spine in all directions. If you can, if it's available to you, please remove your support from underneath. Coming to sit down onto the ground, as you could keep your hands by your sides or lifting all fours off the ground into a boat shape. Please lengthen through the spine and sit between the sit bones here. We put a soft smile on. If you can look outside, the sun is rising. It might not be a clear sky, but there's light coming up. And then we will change the cross of our legs and bring the hands back upon the knees, inhaling as we lift the crown of the head towards the ceiling. And when you're breathing out, draw your left shoulder forward and down and look again over the right. Inhaling as you center, and then the right shoulder forward and down as you look over your left. Repeat that same movement once again on each side. I would love to have your attention on your body and practicing in moderation if that's required. So if possible, now the hands step forward out in front, and we're deepening the movement even more as you breathe out. Your left shoulder draws down towards the floor as you're looking over the right. On the inhale, use your hands just to lengthen your spine. And then the left shoulder, right one draws down and looking over your left. Repeating the movement once more, nothing unfamiliar now as we're moving into a twist combined with a forward bend. When you do come back up on this last breath, inhale, and as you're exhaling, why not lean forward and finding your way into this forward fold? I'm using this moment while I'm close to my feet to remove the socks. And then walking the hands back up towards our bodies and placing the hands down behind us. So you can choose to just use the fingertips behind you. You could also plant your hands down or place the fists down behind your back, and maybe stepping the feet up onto the floor at hip distance as we squeeze our buttocks, lifting the hips up or bringing openness to the chest as we did in our previous round. And maybe lifting the chin up carefully, guiding the head backwards. Take a full breath. And as you're breathing out, gently landing the hips back down onto the floor. And while they're landed, we might as well have another go at Navasana or the boat by lifting the feet, lifting the arms. Let your shoulders rest in their sockets. Use the space again between the sit bones. And if you feel that's appropriate, extending the legs out. Reminding yourself of moderation if required. And maybe extending the arms up, and you could hook up your thumbs, spread out the fingers. And then let's swing the legs over to the side and find our way into a standing shape. So you can support yourself in any kind of way that feels right for you. And you might want to take another layer off if your space is warm enough. As we come to stand at the short end of the mat or the front of the mat, and allowing our feet to be hip distance for now. We're lifting the arms up in front of us at about shoulder height. Flexing through the right wrist as if we're pushing something away as we inhale. And on the out breath, then pull back with the left fist. Let your elbow brush along the side as you draw it behind you. Inhale. And on the exhale, changing sides. Inhale, exhale, change sides. Once again. From there, take the breath in and lift both of your arms up, lifting up through your gaze, and soften the knees as you're exhaling. We're folding forward as we greet the sun. On the in-breath, hands might slide up for a forced half lift. And as you're exhaling now, stepping the right foot back, just about a meter, and keep it out to hip distance. So maybe you're able to ground the heel to the floor. Use a push into the front foot to rise up for warrior one as you take an inhale. Bring the bend back into the front knee as we're standing. Take another inhale and very slowly lower the arms down in front of the chest again as you exhale. Now again, flex into the right wrist, and on the out breath, pulling back with the left fist. Inhaling and exhaling to swap sides. Inhale, exhale, swap sides. Mind your strong stance. We'll do that once more. And holding with the right arm forward. You can keep the fist behind you as you inhale, lifting through the right heel, realigning the leg to point backwards. And you could use the hand to reach down towards the floor if you like on the out breath. There's an option now to bring the back knee down towards the floor as a support. And as you breathe in, then lifting the left arm for a twisted lunge. Swinging the arm back and down. So we've got the foot framed with our hands. And we step the knee back or the foot back. Knees come down towards the ground. Our extended child's pose as you reach your buttocks back towards the heels. Leaving your fingers spread out and the arms actively reaching forward. And while you take a breath in, then roll your spine up and forward until you've got the shoulders above the wrists and pressing down into Hasta Bandha or the hand log as you ground through the bases and the pads of your fingers. As the weight leans a little bit forward now, draw your tailbone in the direction of your heels. And then when you're exhaling, keep your elbows along the side rib cage and lower down onto the mat. With the inhale now, wave up into your cobra. You can use your hands or take them off the floor, that's up to you. But let your shoulders be open and broaden through the space under the collarbones. Inhaling once more. And as you breathe out, use the hands again. This time tuck your toes under and stretch your hips up and back into the puppy shape. Puppy can lead us into down dog if we choose to. So you might place the knees above the ground and lift the tailbone up while we keep bringing space, and that is for all, no matter the shape, into the upper back. With your next inhalation, lifting the right leg up. When you're lifting, keep the foot in flexion for alignment of the pelvis, then point the right foot. And as you exhale, draw your knee forward underneath the chest and helping or stepping the foot between the hands. Please ground the left heel. Take your hands between the feet and start to rock the body forwards and back, and you can use the whole body for that. Keeping the feet grounded, ready for warrior two. So on the next in-breath then, releasing the upper body down. And when you're breathing out, using the lower belly muscles just to roll yourself up. As you inhale, extend the arms softly to shoulder height. And when you're exhaling, bring a bend into the front knee, minding the arch of the foot. So please keep that lifted so that the knee aligns with the toes. Let your left arm gently wrap behind your back. As you breathe in, reach forward and look into that direction. And as you breathe out, brushing your fingertips down along the floor, bending the back knee. As you inhale, bring your hand towards the chest. And as you're breathing out, take the hand forward again. And with that, your gaze. So follow the hand. We'll do that just once more. As you inhale, reach forward. On the exhale, brush along the ground. On the inhale, your hand comes to the heart. And on the exhale, releasing back forward. This is a good moment to grab a support and starting to place that down in front of you. You can slide the hand from behind the back into the side of the waist. The block isn't essential, as you might slide the left leg in. And as you lift it off the floor, you could flex the foot for Ardha Chandrasana, the half moon. We're beginning to roll the hips and the shoulders open, the toes facing straight into the open. And if it's available to you, you might even lift the left arm. Your gaze can remain down. Or if you're brave in your balance, you might lift the gaze. And then let's swing the arm down. Land the feet next to each other and soften down for a forward bend. Inhaling to half lift. And exhaling back into the forward fold. Push down through the feet as you bend your knees. Rise up on a deep breath in to standing, reaching the arms up. And as you're breathing out, taking the hands down into the heart. Let the shoulders soften. If you can, close your eyes, and even if that's just for a moment, connecting to the sensations in your body, maybe even a sense of warmth. While you breathe in, lift the arms, maybe open them to welcome the light into your day. And as you breathe out, bring the hands back together, knees soft, and fold forward. On the in-breath, half lift. And on your out-breath now, stepping your left foot back just about a meter and out into hip distance. Preparing for another warrior one. Use the front foot as you rise on the inhale. Allowing yourself to settle. And very slowly on that breath, lower the arms down in front of the shoulders. Mind your strong stance first and flex through the left wrist. And on an out breath, pull back with the right fist, elbow brushing along the sides. Inhale. Exhale, we're changing sides. Inhale. Exhale, change sides. So we've got a strong core here as we repeat that once more. The out breath is where we push and pull. And we'll hold that with the left hand facing forward. You can keep your fist for a while as you lift your back heel off the floor, realigning the leg. And with the out breath, if you do need support, your hand can rest on the thigh now, reaching with your left hand fingertips towards the ground, leaving the knee off the floor if you like, or placing your knee down onto the ground. And with the in-breath, the right arm might extend towards the ceiling, and you could lift your gaze here. Let that arm swing back and then down by the side of your foot. Stretch it back, hips towards the heels. Extend the child's pose. On the in-breath, come to all fours now. Tucking the toes under or staying here. And while you exhale, you might round your back up into downward dog. On an in-breath now, roll your spine forward into a plank. If you would like support, knees go back down to the ground. We all draw the tailbone back towards the heels. We're happily bringing space in between the shoulder blades, as if we wanted to smile with our upper back. And with the out breath, then the elbows touching the sides of the ribs again as we lower down onto the mat. You're welcome to repeat the cobra or come into an upward facing dog as you create another wave, lifting up to the tops of the feet, opening your gaze forward if that is your choice. You could lead over knees or over toes then into downward facing dog. If you're holding still in this down dog, please soften the knees a little and focus more on reaching your tail up and back, creating that subtle curve in the lower back. With our next inhale, lifting the left leg up. Keep the foot in flexion in the lift for hip alignment. Then point the toes. And when you're breathing out, draw your knee up towards the chest. Before you might help, or land the foot between your hands. Lowering the right heel to the floor and let your hands come in between the legs to sway for a moment, releasing tension through legs and increasing mobility. As you next inhale, let the upper body hang down in the center and using the lower belly as you're breathing out to roll up. While you inhale, reach your arms out to shoulder height. And as you exhale, bring a bend into the left knee. So the same here, please make sure the arches of the feet are lifted. Your feet are building a strong foundation. Wrapping your right arm very gently behind the back. Look at your hand and keep following it as we inhale to reach forward. On the exhale, brush along the floor, bend your back knee. As you inhale, the hand brushes through the heart. And as you exhale, the arm reaches forward again and your drishti, your gaze is following. One more round, inhaling, reach. Exhale to scoop. Inhale to touch your heart. And exhale to extend it forward. You can take this in stages, come with me all the way or remain elsewhere in between as you might reach for a block or the floor in front of you. That hand from behind might slide into the side of the waist. You can hop the back foot in or lift it up straight away. As you lift the foot, please flex it. As you turn your toes into the open, let the hips follow. And roll your shoulder back. So we're basically aiming to stack shoulders and hips. If you like to extend the right arm, that's another option. Gaze could be down, or you could try to lift the gaze up. Half moon shape. Let us land the feet parallel to each other. And then soften back down into a forward fold. On your in-breath now, rise to a half lift and extend your spine. On the out-breath, a folding forward. Instead of rising once more, let's open the feet out to the side, either just bending the knees and the forearms to the thigh for a modified malasana or yogic squat. Or you can sink all the way down between the legs, placing your elbows to the insides of the knees, touching palms together as we lengthen through the spine. Inviting you from here to take the hands either behind or to try and sit down without using them at all. Taking your legs out in front. Bringing the soles of the feet together and taking a hold of either your ankles or the edges of the feet or taking a pistol grip of your big toes. That's up to you. Take a little pull on whatever you're holding on and just extend a bit into the spine. You might feel a light stretch here through the shoulders. Then start to walk your feet a little bit in. Again, please work within the range of your movement. As you might start to extend one leg. You can choose which one that is. The leg doesn't have to straighten, but keep the shoulder down in its socket. And then bending the knee again as you touch the feet together once more. Obviously, we'll do the same on the other side. So while you're inhaling, starting to lift the foot, maybe extending the leg, keep the shoulder down. And then bending once more. A fair few of you know where this is likely to go, and you're right. So I'm shuffling myself around. Please have a look behind you. So if you're falling backwards now, which will be on purpose at some stage, there's nothing behind you. You might try and get both feet off the ground. And you might also begin to extend into both of your legs. As I said before, knees can be bent, shoulders are down. Now see yourself as a huge smile in your legs. And while you're breathing out now, bend your knees, round your back, roll onto the back. And you're welcome here to extend both legs once more. Maybe even drawing back. If the feet are too far away, just grab somewhere behind your legs, but keep your feet in a flexion. We'll get some space into the hips as we conclude this in a happy baby pose. So again, you can hold on where you can reach, but please stacking your ankles right over your knees as you draw the knees down outside of your rib cage. So knees are quite wide, and if you feel a rocking movement would be nice, you can pull yourself a little bit from side to side, maybe pulling more on one foot than the other. Bringing your feet together, bringing your knees together over your chest, and you might give them another little squeeze. Take a breath and open the arms out. And while you're exhaling, take your knees over to the right as much as is possible. Rest them down for the length of a breath as you might turn your gaze. Waiting for an out breath so you can engage your core to draw the knees back into the chest. And with the out breath that comes after, bringing the knees across to the left and maybe turning the gaze again, holding here for the length of a breath. When the next exhalation comes, repeat inner strength to lift your knees back into the center. And you might now bring your hands upon your knees. As you inhale, stretch your arms over the head and reach the legs up to the ceiling. If you feel confident here, your lower back is okay. Switch your core on as you begin to lower arms and legs. Otherwise, you can bend your knees, step the feet with an engaged core towards the floor. Let your legs come out long. Unless you have lower back issues, then come into constructive resting pose. As this is a short practice, so is Shavasana, reasonably short. Close the eyes. Try not to do too much other than keeping yourself warm. Let the shoulders soften down. Let your hips become heavy. Arms and legs just rolling away from the body. You might, to speed up the relaxation response, take a big breath in and have a huge sigh out of the mouth to release. Allowing yourself a moment where the body is not moving. A moment where the body can just be felt. Where you are alert and present, yet physically relaxed. Invited you to practice in moderation, which might set the tone for your day. As Desika Cha put, moderation or brahmacharya, he writes, responsible behavior with respect to our goal of moving toward the truth. The truth is what we believe sits right deep within us. If you have a time from here, please just stay resting in Shavasana for a bit longer. Otherwise, begin to move through fingers, through your toes. And taking your own approach of returning to an upright seat. Bringing your hands gently to touch in front of the chest. Lift your heart towards your head and lightly bow the head towards the heart. We'll take a deep inhale together, a long, slow exhalation. Tapping into our own truth as we extend ourselves to each other. Namaste.